Hi, welcome to Party Food Hero. I am Aaron. Today we're going to be making chocolate chip cookies. These aren't your basic chocolate chip cookies. I know everyone kind of has their own recipe for cookies, especially chocolate chip cookies. These ones take your standard ingredients and give them a little bit of a twist that makes these absolutely amazing. We've been making chocolate chip cookie recipes for the past couple of months, and we found a winner. This one is amazing. You have to check it out. You can use obviously when baking these, you can use a standard oven, and that's what we do. And then I also do a batch in my smoker, so we'll see how those ones turn out. But it's not hard to make. It's a little more complicated than a normal chocolate chip cookie, but it's worth the effort. Let's go check it out. Behold, the ingredients to the greatest chocolate chip cookie recipe you'll ever make. Probably. All of the ingredient measurements and instructions in the description below. Let us begin. All right, you're going to sift your flours. Yes, there's different types of flours you're going to be using in this recipe because that's what you need to make an amazing chocolate chip cookie dough. And yes, you do need to sift it. Even if you have a nice fine flour, you still got to sift it. You got to make sure all those lumps are out of that flour so you can make a lump-free chocolate chip cookie dough. And if needs be, you have a 2-year-old help you sift it as best as she can. And then you add your salt. And don't go reaching for that salt. Nope, don't reach for it. Not shown was the baking soda that was sifted in with the flour. So make sure you got that baking soda in. All right, this step of browning the butter is what takes these chocolate chip cookies to the next level in flavor. It just adds this nutty, delicious flavor profile to the chocolate chip cookies. It's the most difficult part of the chocolate chip cookies, but it's also easy. You just keep an eye on it, you stir it, and then you want to get it to a nice kind of dark golden brown color that I'll show you here in this next clip. You just got to keep an eye on it. That's all you got to do. And then as you continually stir it, doesn't have to be constantly, but just every once in a while stirring it, it'll get to that color. It's kind of hard to see with all the bubbles, but it's kind of a brownish, not super dark brown, but a brownish brown. So while you're browning the butter, you're naturally going to lose some moisture. And to make up for that, because you need it right at 2 cups, you're just going to add some water until you get up to that 2-cup mark. And then you're going to let this sit out and get to room temperature. That's really important. You don't want this to be hot when you mix it in with everything else, or it'll melt the chocolate and you'll end up with a really dark cookie that just doesn't come out right. So you need to set this out until it gets to room temperature. Now you're going to add your brown sugar, then your white sugar, then your espresso powder. Again, like with the brownie recipe, this doesn't make your chocolate chip cookies taste like coffee or espresso. It just helps bring out the chocolatey flavor of the different chocolates we're putting in. And then you put in your vanilla as well. And then you put in your browned butter. Room temperature brown butter. Trust me, we made the mistake of not waiting until it got room temperature before, and it does not turn out great. So wait. And then you mix it all together. You mix it until it's all blended really well, and then you're going to add in your eggs. Let me just tell you, while this is all blending with that browned butter, all the sugar and everything that's in there, it smells so good. You know this is going to be a great recipe just after you start making the sugary, buttered, or brown buttered slurry. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So after that's been mixing for a few minutes, You start adding in your eggs, egg yolks, and then whole eggs. And then you just mix that until those are all mixed completely together and incorporated into that batter. And then very carefully, you add in about 1/3 of the flour and then mix that in. If you put it all in once and turn it on, it's just going to make a big mess. So about 1/3 of it, mix it in. Then once that's incorporated, you can put the other, you can put the rest of the flour in. All right, now you're going to add in your milk chocolate chips. Get them all in there. And then you're going to add in your dark chocolate that you chopped up. You want to get those smaller sizes, probably similar to a chocolate chip size. Doesn't have to be the exact same size, but somewhere around there. And then you just mix this all in. Now, why do we use milk chocolate and dark chocolate? Because that's what makes the best chocolate chip cookie. Even if you don't really enjoy dark chocolate, I do. My wife doesn't really like dark chocolate very much, but these are still her favorite chocolate chip cookies. It just helps with, it's just the flavor profile, people. Flavor profile. And so you have this milk chocolate, which is sweet. You have a good balance with the dark chocolate, and then you have that brown butter and all the sugar. The texture and everything ends up just being absolutely amazing when you cook it. After you're done mixing this all together, form these into balls around the size of a golf ball, put them on a baking sheet, and put them in your refrigerator overnight. It's not mandatory, but it does make a difference with how the chocolate chip cookies turn out. Now, these are your chocolate chip cookies, so you can make them as big as you want. You're probably looking for around a golf ball size if you want kind of the traditional size of a chocolate chip cookie, but you can do it however you want. But as a side note, the cookie dough ball size that you put in there is going to affect how long they bake for, so you might have to experiment if you want a basketball size cookie. 12.5 minutes later, there they are. Perfectly cooked, delicious. Got those chunks of chocolate and dark chocolate. Those are delicious cookies, let me tell you. And again, they smell amazing. I didn't forget, I also smoked a batch of these cookies. Not like, in my smoker. I baked them in the smoker. I baked a batch of cookies in the smoker. Just want to be clear. How'd they turn out? Well, you are just going to have to wait and see when we get to my favorite part of this video and my favorite part of all my videos. Look at that. Those are pretty. All right, now for my favorite part of the video. I get to eat the cookies. Now, it did take a few extra steps, kind of a different process of making these chocolate chip cookies, but I promise you the result is worth the extra effort. So I'm gonna start with the ones that I cooked in the oven. So let's try that one first. All right, so those are absolutely delicious. What I look for in a chocolate chip cookie is I don't want to have to break into it. I want it to have a little bit of a maybe crunch on the bottom, slight crunch on the bottom, and then it's just soft. I don't want it to be, let's all be honest here. We have no problem with eating raw cookie dough. So you can never really have it undercooked, but I'd say a perfect cookie is gonna, have a little bit of a, can you hear that? Have a little bit of a, crispy bottom. So
That's what you look for. I don't want it to like break like a cracker, but I do want it to have some texture on the bottom as well. But I still want it to be soft. I don't want it to be hard. There's types of cookies that are designed to be harder in texture. Chocolate chip cookies shouldn't be breaking and snapping like a cracker when you're eating them, or you did something wrong. The other thing too is, so browning the butter is such a unique flavor that adds just a different layer to the flavor profile of these cookies. It's a step that takes, what, an extra 10 minutes to do, but it just takes your chocolate chip cookies to the next level, where it's the type of thing you're gonna give them to people, and if they don't know that you browned the butter, they're gonna be like, why do these chocolate chip cookies taste so good? And you'll know. But still, tell them to watch the channel. So that's that, and then the contrasting chocolates, the milk chocolate with the dark chocolate is really, really good. They're not overly sweet. They're just really, really good. I love this recipe. For me, it's like the perfect cookie. And if you want to make them a little bit bigger, you can. If you want them to be a little gooier in the middle, make a bigger cookie, cook it less time. You can have a gooier center. But yeah, so here we go. I'm gonna try the ones that I made in the smoker. See, so they have a little bit of a crisp on the bottom, not as much. Wow. Oh my God. My wife will not be happy that I use this to clean my hands off with chocolate. Sorry. Maybe that's the way to do it. Maybe the way to do it is to bake them in a smoker. I like the consistency of these a little bit more. They're a little softer than the oven ones, but I could fix that as well just by cooking them a little less time in the oven. Obviously, your ovens are gonna kind of vary in temperature, what the temperature actually is, depending on your type of oven, elevation, humidity, all that kind of stuff. And that's why you kind of got to play with it. We actually figured out ours was 12 minutes and 30 seconds to get it to where we want it to be. Maybe after eating these smoked ones, maybe it's 12 minutes and 15 seconds that we have to do it in this oven, because these smoked ones have just a slight kind of kiss of smoke to them that's really good. I just thought it was gonna be kind of a novelty thing, like, hey, I did it in the smoker. But these are amazing. These are really good. Like I said, we made a bunch of different recipes during the pandemic where we couldn't go do anything, and this was by far the best one. I highly recommend making these. These will be your go-to cookies. These will be the cookies that everyone's gonna be asking you for the recipe. Sure, take the credit, but then send them to the video so they can subscribe, please, please. But yes, so if you learned something new, if you enjoyed this video, please hit subscribe, hit like, hit the notification bell. If you make these cookies, throw it up on Instagram. Tag us on Instagram at Party Food Hero. For all the recipes and everything, go to partyfoodhero.com. And remember, be the Party Food Hero. Now, I'm not gonna eat all of these, but I'm gonna eat a few of them. They're really, really good. They're really good. Look at this, look at this, look at that. Look at that, it's just perfect, like, just little texture on the bottom. God, they're perfect. Delicious. Holy crap.
Be the Party Food Hero.
So good.